G'day guys, how's it going? So we'll be going through the best weapons for Warzone 2 Season 5. I'll crack straight into the best weapons with the faster TTKs that all the pros are using. Then at the end of the video, I'll show you guys the low recoil options we have because it's better to be hitting with marshmallows than missing your shots. Alright, let's go. So the main loadout I'm using at the moment and my number one option is the Vel 46 with the TAC V. So the Vel 46 here is right up there with the MP5 in the ISO for its TTK up close. But where this thing shines is it's got a much longer range. We've got the FTAC Castle Comp in the Edge 47 underbarrel grip here for that recoil control, and then we've got the Schlag and Soldier grip and the Demo RXT stock, that movement speed, aim down sight speed. We've also got the 60 round magazine here. You want to be moving a bit quicker, you can swap out the 60 round mag and make it a bit smaller, but I wouldn't recommend it, especially if you're running quads, but that is an option. Can also, if you're not a big fan of the optic, you can swap out the Demo RXT stock, as this thing just provides that sprinting speed, aim down sight speed, so you're moving around the map quick, and you can chuck on an optic if you prefer. And I'll show you the tuning for this one. Moving over to the TAC V here, this thing absolutely fries. It's got one of the quickest TTK in the game. We've got the Tempest muzzle and the FTAC Ripper underbarrel here, that recoil control, 50 round magazine obviously, and we've got the SZ Recharge optic. This optic provides the least visual recoil out of all the optics we have. Now, if this thing is too hard for you to control, you can swap out the high velocity ammunition here with the FSS Combat grip, because this thing can provide a decent bit more recoil control for you, so you can control this thing. But yeah, that's my build there, and we've got the tuning just now. Right, moving along to my next build, we've got the MP5 and the MCPR. So the Lockman sub is the quickest close range TTK weapon we have up until I think it's about 9 meters, and then it has a drop off, and then it's one of the worst options we have after 9 meters, as the drop off for the MP5 is massive. But if you're in a building or running around Vondel or something like that, this is the best option and you'll be frying people super quick. So we've got the FTAC Castle muzzle here, the lock grip precision underbarrel here. This thing really helps out with our hip fire accuracy. Got the 50 round magazine here and the Mir recoil stock here to help out with our recoil control as well. If you're not a big fan of the lasers, you can swap this out, and a lot of people are running the overpressed ammunition to give that target flinch and hopefully make them miss their shots, so you get a better chance of winning that gunfight. And we've got the tuning now. Right, as for the sniper, I run the MCPR. You can also run the signal. It is another good option, or the intervention if you're a fan of that, or FJX Imperium, but I much prefer the MCPR. This is the build I run, so I've got the nil sound muzzle and that barrel for that range and bullet velocity. We've obviously got the explosive rounds here to get that one-shot headshot. We've got the FSS OLE laser, that aim down sight speed sprinter fire. If you're not worried about that, you can get rid of the laser here, chuck on a bolt to give you that rechamber speed, which can help out in them gunfights, and then you can pick whatever optic you like. I'm just a fan of the Forge Stack Delta. It's a nice clean 5x5 magnification sight, and we've got the tuning. Right, moving along to our third loadout, I've got the ISO 45 matched up with the RAL MG. So the ISO is another great option. It's pretty much right in there with the MP5 or the TTK, but this thing has a bit more range. So we've got the PTX trainer to try and help out with that range. FTAC Castle Comp in the Edge to help out with that recoil control. We've got a 45 round magazine. That's the biggest magazine this thing has. And then I also run the A30 Stout rear grip to help it with that recoil control as well, because I struggle a bit with this weapon. Can swap it out if you can control that recoil with the EXP shear grip to add that sprinter fire aim down sight, or if you're not a big fan of the iron sight, can swap out say the Edge for the optic and chuck on an optic with this one. We've got the tuning. Right, now we've got the RAL. This is the best LMG we have at the moment with the quickest TTK. The recoil is very controllable, and this thing absolutely fries. The bullets hit hard. It's just a slower firing weapon, so it's not very forgiving when you start missing your shots. So we've got the 21-inch EXH Rhino barrel for that range and recoil control. Got the Cronin muzzle to try and help out with that horizontal bounce this thing has. Got the SA side grip that really helps out with that recoil control and stability. We've got the high velocity ammunition. Not that you really need it with the LMGs because they've got a pretty high bullet velocity, but this thing just helps it when people are moving at a long range to hit them shots. And we've got the SZ Recharge optic again, as this is my optic of choice at the moment. If you're really struggling to control the recoil on this thing, again, you can swap out the high velocity ammunition with a rear grip on this thing, chuck on the Stip 40 grip. It does help out a fair bit with that recoil control. And we've got the tuning. Right, so they're the best option we have at the moment. Now I'll talk you guys through the best low recoil options we have. We've got the M13 here and the Lockman 556. These things are both at just over 1,000 millisecond TTK at long range. They do pretty much shoot marshmallows, especially the M13. It does actually have a quicker TTK than the Lockman 556. It just feels like it because it has a lot quicker fire rate, so the bullets actually do less damage per bullet, but you kill quicker because the fire rate's quicker, obviously. So the build for this one, we've got the Bruin barrel, FTAC castle comp, and the Ripper for that control. Optic, it's up to you. I was using the MOP when I was using this, or you can use the SZ recharge, and we've got the 60 round magazine here, and we've got the tuning. Right, moving on to the Lockman 556. This thing's got absolutely no recoil. You can see that I don't even have an underbarrel or a grip because this thing is that easy to control. It pretty much just shoots straight even when you let go of the right thumbstick. So we've got this build, the Lockman 15.9 barrel, FTAC castle comp, got high velocity ammo, 60 round mag, and whatever optic you prefer. If you somehow are struggling to hit your shots with this thing, you can swap out the high velocity and put on an underbarrel, say the FTAC Ripper, or you can put the rear grip. This thing doesn't have a grip, so swap out high velocity with the underbarrel and that will help you hit your shots a bit better, but this thing's got no recoil as it is. And there's a tuning. And our last option, so we've got the Castor 545 and the Suckin MG38 for them LMG lovers. So the Castor 545, I'm not a big fan of this thing just because it does have a lot of horizontal movement with the recoil, but it is very easy to control, especially with a 60 round magazine. It barely moves. So we've got the IGK 30 barrel, the Komodo heavy to try and help out with that horizontal, FTAC Ripper underbarrel, and then we've got the 60 round mag, and you can chuck whatever optic you want on this thing like usual. And that's the tuning. Now, as for the Sakine, this thing is pretty much a laser, shoots damn straight for an LMG. Bullet velocity is insane, so you can hit your shots miles away without having to lead that much. So I've got the 20-inch Bruin silver barrel here, got the TY LR8 muzzle, Bruin Warrior underbarrel. This thing is massive for recoil control and stabilization. Got high velocity ammunition and the SZ recharge optic. Can swap out the high velocity ammunition for, again, the Stip 40 grip if you're struggling with that recoil control. This thing doesn't really need the extra velocity compared to the other weapons, so you won't really notice getting rid of that, and you will notice slightly less horizontal bounce with that. That's it.
What are you still doing? The video's over, man. So check out my video on the top 5 loadouts for season 4 Reloaded. Go on.